the whole idea, like I said, person-centered care, the holistic approach to care, bringing meaning and engagement, they are much more important than any end product. So it's never about making art, great artists out of these residents. It's about providing them with an experience, a meaningful experience. I had a burning desire to do something meaningful. And I thought, I'll be giving back to these older adults. And in the end, I got a lot back. I mean, the residents I've worked with have been a gift to me.
Did you know that people who make art report higher levels of mental health, cognitive function, and overall well-being compared to those that don't? Well, we're going to have a great conversation today because my guest is Mary Beth Flynn, and she is a watercolor artist, a former caregiver, and founder of Artfully Aging, a watercolor art program for seniors. Mary Beth, welcome to Next Level Leadership.
Well, hello and good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Dana. To be here.
I'm thrilled to have you as well. Thank you. I have really been looking forward to our conversation today. So would you mind starting off by just telling us your story?
Okay. Well, shall I start at the very, very beginning?
Start wherever you would like.
Okay. My story as an artist and as an entrepreneur, an entrepreneurial artist. So I loved art my whole life. And when I was a little girl, I would spend a lot of time making art, painting. My mom enrolled me in some art classes. I actually started my entrepreneurship back then. I made things and arranged them in a little box with a price list on the lid. So when I opened the box, the price list was there. I was probably 10 years old. And I took it around door to door in my neighborhood and sold Christmas ornaments. I made them and arranged them, and so that's what I did. And I'll never forget my parents. I'm the youngest of 6. My parents saying, "Well, she's a natural saleswoman. She's going to be a saleswoman." So I love doing art, and I also realized that it did something magical. Like the time went by, I got lost in it, and it was kind of meditative, or I don't know, but I knew that I liked doing it. I got my art things out, and I do it, in the evening. I remember summer nights, doing that, and there was something comforting about it. So, actually, and my mom took me to local consignment shops with my wares also, and we sold them. I just think how funny because I'm an entrepreneur now. And hello, makes sense, right?
It comes full circle, doesn't it?
So, okay, so I majored in interior design at the University of Missouri, in Mizzou, Columbia, and in their architectural design, interior design department. And I worked as a commercial designer for several years right out of college. I also got married right out of college. And so then started a family, and I became a stay-at-home mom. And I started dabbling back in my artwork. Like, oh yeah, my interior design was very technical. A lot of architectural drawing and not illustration at all. And I started rekindling those juices. Like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm an artist. I like making things. So I started doing that on volunteer, like for church and things like that. And I had little kids and in preschool, and I became single and wanted to be that was kind of a big turn, and but I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I felt a conviction about that, about being at home, being with my kids, and being involved. And as a single parent, I thought there would be so nice if I could do that, because if I was working full time and a single parent, that would be really hard for everybody. So I decided I will be a freelance artist. Oh, I made greeting cards and I actually peddled them around to shops in St. Louis, and several shops were selling my little cute greeting cards. But Mary Englebright,
Yes.
she became my person I admired so, and he did it. Well, I could do it. Well, it's a lot more work. It's a lot of work to make a greeting card company, and I needed to generate some revenue. And so somebody asked me for a house portrait, and I thought, oh, okay, I could do that, and my background lent itself to it. So I created a house portrait, a pen and ink house portrait for a real estate agent to give as a gift. And I thought, hey, that went pretty well. Now, if I could figure out how to market that, I could do that and produce that, and that might help me out to make some revenue. Then the recession hit, the 2008 through 11. And house portraits are, a nice thing to have, kind of a high-end gift market. So that kind of went kaput for a while, and I had to scramble around, and I became part of the gig economy. I went back to work for an architectural firm part-time, where I worked right out of school, and that was a blessing. Like that, I still had that relationship, and I was their architectural librarian. So I kept all their resource materials. I was part-time, and I got this little gig at an adult day center doing an art program, doing art with them, like going in and doing a watercolor project twice a month. So then I was doing the home care and the adult day center and the other things. But those two things like made the light go off for me. Like I could maybe make a business doing a watercolor program in senior living communities around St. Louis, because I see them all over.
Mm.
And this is back in 2009. And so that's what I did. I did my program with the adult day center. I did some networking. I found out who I knew. It worked other places. I got in senior living communities in St. Louis, and over the next until COVID hit, I built it into a business. I was serving 45 communities, multiple groups every week. I have led over 4,000 watercolor sessions in senior living communities. There's a market for it. Not everybody, budgets are a thing in senior living and life enrichment. And you know that, who have experience in that field, I think.
We pause for just a moment, and
Yes.
for our audience that doesn't know anything about the field of aging, what makes senior living different from the other two that you talked about? How is senior living different than from adult day and home care?
Home care does not have a life enrichment director. Home care companies do not offer enriching activities. Home care companies offer help with meds, companionship, help with ADLs, activities of daily living, all of those things. But historically, they have not had an activities program. Adult day, they usually have more built in and maybe not as big a budget. So I guess I just, I haven't marketed to them. I have, however, as I'll get to in my story, kind of opened up the whole field to everybody now. Senior living is a community where everybody lives there and they have everything built into the community.
Yes. And so it was a perfect intersection for you, because there is life enrichment, there is activities, there is a desire to keep purpose front and center for older people
Right.
in a community.
Right. They have a whole department devoted to that in a community.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So that department is who I marketed to and have worked over the years. So then I had the idea, I'm gonna build my business and get more artists, facilitators on board with me and we can get, more communities. It's still growing. I mean, it's going to be growing for a while. And that was right before COVID, and that was working. I onboarded some facilitators and was training them, and then COVID hit. So we shut down everything and everybody went home. I always say everybody went home, How could I serve communities without going into them? Well, everybody's talking about Zoom videos. I have no idea how to do that or what it is, but maybe I could use it. And I could pack ready to paint watercolor projects that I normally would take with me to the community. And I could make a Zoom video, how-to video, record it, and email it to the community. And I did that on the DIY, and it worked. Pretty well. And they were like, yeah, we can use this. So without you coming in. Yeah. So from there came the idea of, if I could do that across town, I could do that across the country or across everywhere. And I could now have this great new website that I have no idea who's going to make it or how it's going to come, but I got this great website with videos on it and a whole menu of all these projects I've designed and created. And people could go on and order them and then access the videos. I have no idea how that would happen. That's all magical to me. But what a great idea.
Yes.
And so 4 years ago, next month, that's almost February, I launched the internet model of Artfully Aging. Now I have a website that it has an e-commerce portal, has a menu of projects, and a way for buyers to get access to the how-to videos for each project.
That is a fantastic journey. And I love how you started out being an entrepreneur and didn't even realize it, but you had this art. And then today, you can technically teach anyone around the world. You went from location to globalization. It's
Right.
really exciting. And then throughout your story, you kept talking about all of these things that, took you in a different direction and all the challenges that you came up with. And you just pivoted. You pivoted every time. Did self-doubt ever come into any of that? Or how was your mindset to get you through each step?
Okay, yeah, self-doubt all the time. Being courage and fear have let's see. Someone who's courageous is not fearless.
That's a fantastic point.
So yes, realizing that, okay, well, life is like this. It's just one big conundrum. Okay, I'll even go farther than that. One big paradox. I mean, it is. And there's always this side and that side, and this, and then another possibility, or this way to look at it and that way to look at it, So when I, with my 3 little kids, became single, that was a big setback for me. That was not on my horizon. And however, I would never have done all of this if that hadn't happened. So how do you figure all that? But that's the way life is. And if that hadn't happened, something else would have happened, which would have been maybe equally as wonderful. But it's just, life is a big paradox.
Something that really stuck with me in your answer is this idea of everything for the greater good and helping everyone rise. Would you say that
Yes.
is your leadership style, or would you say that all of your leadership with your team and everybody that you worked with kind of springs from that?
Yes. I feel very fortunate. I have a team now of a handful of people that work with me all as contractors. And one has been with me for 20 years.
Wow.
And she started as a house with my house. She's an artist. She helps me with my house portrait layout, part of my business. But she has also helped me more recently in leading some art groups as a facilitator for Artfully Aging.
That's great.
So, which brings me to, then with COVID and then developing the internet business and being able to market and sell to senior communities across the country with my watercolor program. I have even pivoted since then. And that is this Artfully Aging is an art program for seniors in all settings, not just senior living communities. And so I'm not excluding them in any way at all. Senior living is very much a part of my target audience, but home care has become part of my market also. And I think that it's starting to take with them. They're seeing the value, the added value of having meaningful activities for their clients that their caregivers can learn how to do. And Artfully Aging lends itself perfectly to that. They can use our videos and they can use the program. A home care company could purchase the program and then their caregivers can use it. Senior centers, they have they're often run by a department head or a recreation therapist. They can use the program. And they have started. I have been in that setting now. Artfully Aging has been used in that setting. It's been used in the home care setting. It's all kind of on the front end here. I feel like I am paving the way.
You are. You're definitely.
And the other thing, the other setting is public health.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movement out there for seniors and ways to combat social isolation for seniors who are aging in place at home, older adults. And there is a public health organization in New Hampshire who I've been working with now for just about a year. And they are a perfect testament to the program because their program director has started ordering the projects and she watched the videos, the how-to videos, to how to lead the groups. And she's having great success and posting about them and was able to say, I had art in junior high and I have been able to learn how to lead a watercolor group from Mary Beth's how-to videos. So that's just so wonderful to me.
That is great. Congratulations. I'm just blown away by how you just continue to grow and you continue to morph and your positivity just completely shines through. And you're on LinkedIn and I see on LinkedIn all the time and I get to see all the beautiful images that are created by the seniors that work with you or have worked with the caregivers who have worked with you. And they're just beautiful and they bring a smile to my face every time. I can only imagine what that experience is like for the person that's creating the art or the caregiver who has never done that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 4 years ago, I think I had 40, maybe 50 connections on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know anything about followers then. And and I got really busy on LinkedIn and decided that would be my platform. And I spent a lot of time just going through and asking the right people to connect over. I spent hours doing that. And I have, let's see, I think I have 5,600 followers now and I'm making 5,200 connections.
Wow.
Oh, and pretty much in this space, in the senior space. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. You just keep growing and growing and growing. For the woman who is just starting out or maybe has been in business for 1 to 2 years and they're feeling like, will this ever take off for me? What advice would you give them?
Um, okay, let's see. You have to stay the course and stay focused. And by that I mean, it's really easy to get kind of sidetracked.
Hmm.
Like for me, for example, over my years, I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you could do children's groups. You could do this for schools. You could do birthday parties." And I've had to say no, like kind of like put the blinders on. So like that's what I mean when I say life is a big paradox, because on the one hand, I'm saying you've got to stay open to all the possibilities and pivot when it's time. But you also have to have the blinders on all at the same time, right?
Yes.
And stay focused on your vision. And that's another thing about having a vision. And I have learned that. I learned that backwards
Oh,
because I realized in life, like, hey, I've suddenly found myself a few years ago. It was when I realized it's like, hey, I have everything I kind of visualized. I've got brought into my life, and it's here now. Wow, did I do that? I'm going to start visualizing all the time. And so there's really something to that. You tend to bring things to you that way.
oh yeah.
And so back, even when I was a little girl, I kind of had a vision. I want to be an artist, and I want to be, and I don't know if you remember, but Vera, there's Vera Bradley, those bags. Okay, well, Vera was older than that, and there there were tea towels and napkins and like table linens, and she signed her name Vera, and they were real bright, happy, cheery designs. I don't know if you remember those or not, but as a little girl, I used to see those and think, oh, I wonder who Vera is. Like, I'd like to be like Vera. And maybe that was a visualization. I don't know. That's I've always wanted to be an have a business using my art, and I'm doing it. So, I wanted to live in. I became single a long time ago, but in 2018 I got remarried.
Congratulations.
So thank you. It's great, and I thought, okay, I think I'd like to be with someone who's maybe an artist or a writer or maybe some kind of entrepreneur also, and it would be awesome to have. Yeah, and I was doing that whole dating thing, and not to get too personal, but maybe it would be really cool to live like maybe kind of rural and have a shop on our property, and maybe he's a artist woodworker or something. I don't know, but I kind of had this kind of sketchy visions in my head, and I live in the woods now on 3 acres, and we have a shop that we built here, and my husband is an artist.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, break it down for me. How do you how do you visualize that? You just keep thinking about it every day, or do you take time to meditate on it or talk?
Yes, like what would make me happy? And actually, when I was a little girl and we would go on family vacations in the station wagon driving across the country, and we drive by farmland and all of that, I always remember telling my mom, "Oh, I'd love to live in the country. I'd love to live on a farm." I'm the youngest of 6, so there are a lot of people in the car. And I remember my mom say, "Well, honey, you're going to have yeah, a gentleman farmer." Okay. So I don't know, listen to your heart's leanings. I guess that's my message. Listen to what your desires are. Yeah.
That's fantastic advice.
So yeah, and always look for the possibilities. And this other little thing I have is one thing always leads to another. And so keep that in mind. Sometimes somebody will ask you to do something and you're like, well, I don't know if this is really going to help me in what I'm doing, but then after you do it and somehow afterwards, like, wow, that really helped me do something else. And so that's what I'm saying. You never know, a connection or getting to know somebody or trying something you didn't really think would work. Sometimes one thing always leads to another. So.
It certainly does. I love how aligned we are in the way that we think about things, that we think about our business, and that we share a passion for older people. And I share a passion with art as well, not in watercolor, but music. Love,
Oh.
love music and love connecting that with older people as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Something that came to mind while you were talking about all of that is you did mention that mentorship was part of your growth in your business. Tell us a little bit about how you choose mentors or how you did in the past, and have you mentored anybody as you've grown?
Okay, so let's see. I don't know that I made a conscious choice about a mentor. They appear. And I did have someone who helped me, mentored me in my house portrait business. Is an artist. He's a local artist who I had been introduced to by a mutual friend on maybe like a social basis, really. Maybe I called on him to ask him advice, but he ended up helping me quite a bit with how to, set up, just different aspects of having a house portrait business. Finding mentors, I don't, something I did when I was looking for a job, when I was that gig economy and I was looking for anything, and I told my friends, I told people I knew, I'm looking for this. And some people stepped up and said, oh, okay, well, I am a therapist at this adult day center, and I think they might be able to use you. I'm going to set you up with someone. I was like, okay. And I went for it. And I ended up there. And the adult day rec therapist who was there happened to be a music therapist. And she mentored me in a small way, but a small and big way at one time. She's like, oh, okay, I know about this industry. I knew nothing about the industry then, the senior living industry. She said, you could develop this. You could go into communities and do an art program, and you could charge this much. And there's a market for that. And she kind of told me about it a little bit. And that was a mentorship right there.
Yes.
And that, you can mentor people in small ways. So that was it. I ended up getting several communities, and in one of the communities, I got to know one of the residents' daughters. And this daughter, we become friends. She's now like a mentor. I introduce her as my friend and mentor. And but this daughter, we got to be friends. We had a little art show her mom was in, and she came, so we had occasion to get to know each other. And she said, we brought mom to this Sunrise location in St. Louis because we saw you doing your group there. That's why we decided on our tour.
Wow.
I was like, really? Are you just trying to make me feel good? No, and so she and I got to be friends, and she had experience as an entrepreneur, and she worked in communications, and she really encouraged me to do this next step when COVID hit about doing the online version and marketing nationally and creating this internet, version of my business. So she was a mentor. I'd like to think I've been, mentored people. My people who work for me have, really gotten a lot out of working with me and thanked me for training them to, be able to go out and do it. And again, it can't be a competition. It's like, we're going to do this together. I'm going to show you, I'm going to help you. You're doing great for me. It's like, it's all a win-win, right?
Yes, it is. You know, it strikes me as we're having this conversation that as you continue on your journey and you've reached another level of pivot that you're going through right now, things it sounds like things get easier for you. Your connections come to you, you're visualizing and the work maybe isn't as hard as it was when you got started.
Yes.
Am I is it
Oh,
am I
yes.
back there?
Yes. But you know what? I've learned this is kind of like a life lesson. Um, it's like, how can I analogy? Do you have children?
I do, 2 of them.
Okay. So remember, you hear people say this, and you said this, like, now you have 2 daughters. It's like, wow, I take care of my 2 daughters. I do all, wait, what did I do before? How do I get all this done? Right? And it just kind of happens to you, right?
Mhm.
And I think about it now, how daunting this whole thing seemed 4 years ago to me.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I wasn't sure internet marketing, like, really, how does that work? So I think I've figured out a lot. I have so much to learn, though. There's so many things I don't know how to do technology wise, and all of that. But it kind of one thing builds on another, I guess. And um how is the elephant eaten, or how do you get rid of the elephant in the room? You have one bite at a time. And that's how it is. And that's how it is with, everything in life. Like, how did I do that house portrait business and become, a national, where I was shipping them all over the country? So don't, I guess my message is, don't let things scare you. Just do the next thing, and have a vision. And maybe your vision isn't all in focus, but it's a blurry vision. But maybe try to, bring it to detail as much as you can, but not too much. Because remember, you have to be ready to look at all the possibilities. So the vision might look sort of like it, but maybe it's actually going to be something a little different.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Such great advice. Such great advice for me, such great advice for the people that are listening. And I can imagine, just as an aside, that I have some followers that are in the senior living space that probably know nothing about you. And that whole story about somebody choosing to live in that community because they saw you doing the art is a fantastic way for marketing and bringing people into your space. Um, what changes would you say are shaping the future of art programs in senior care? Do you see trends emerging, or are you just blazing your path and seeing what works?
Well, I have, even over this whole almost 16 years of doing this now, I have seen it evolving. That people are, just the whole person-centered care, a holistic approach to care, that whole culture change, all those things are coming, and it's still evolving. But I remember when I started, back then, the way I got clients was I looked them up in the phone book.
Ah,
Called the senior living communities, and I wasn't even sure who to ask for at first, but I found out quickly. And it was kind of a new idea. Oh, you're going to come in and do art with us. Oh, okay, great idea. But then I would come in and maybe show them what we would do. Oh, our residents, they can't do that. They're not going to be able to do that. I was like, oh, okay, just watch me. I mean, really, I kind of had that attitude. Just watch me, because it's not about the end product at all. It's just about the process. And if you do something, they're doing it. And so I guess the whole idea, like I said, person-centered care, the holistic approach to care, um, bringing meaning and engagement, they are much more important than any end product. So it's never about making art, great artists out of these residents. It's about providing them with an experience, a meaningful experience. And so does that answer your?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a beautiful answer. Thank you.
And it's given me, I will tell you now, I had a burning desire to do something meaningful back when I was deciding, how I was going to get out of the gig economy. and and this, at first I felt like maybe I wanted to go back to school and get an MSW and work with kids or families, and I didn't really have time or finances for all that. So this presented itself to me as something I could do. And I thought, I'll be giving back to these older adults, and maybe it will be me, it's still something meaningful. And the way I also reconciled it was, if I'm doing something for anybody in our world, it's for everybody. It doesn't matter. We're all connected. And in the end, I got a lot back. I mean, the residents I've worked with have been a gift to me.
So I'm sure that's fantastic. I can see
Excited.
it on your face and in your body language as well. Do you have a special story about working with a certain older person that really makes everything worth it?
I do. Her name is Marilyn, and it's been a few years and it was at a skilled nursing center, and we had a group of women that came and they loved it. I think I went there twice a month then, and this one woman in particular liked to save all her artwork, and I think she was like so tickled with herself because, as this often happens this way, she had really never done art and didn't consider herself an artist at all. In fact, most people are afraid or intimidated when you say, we're going to go do watercolor. Watercolor? I don't do watercolor. So I don't know, let's come on, So she was very tickled with herself, and she had me to her room one day after several groups, and to show me how she had arranged all of her work on her wall, and that her husband, she was just so amazed because she knew her husband would be so amazed with her. He had passed away, but if he only could see me now, he would be so amazed. I was just so heart-struck with that little story. And I have some countless stories, really, I feel like. And I had one woman just recently say, I'd really like this art program because, well, the projects aren't cheesy. I was like, cheesy? Okay, well, if they're not cheesy, then what are they? Let's talk about that.
What was their answer? What was her answer?
Well, classy, maybe, or style. They have style, class, or, I think mostly that they're not juvenile. They don't say this is for children or preschoolers. This is for older adults,
Yes, it's beautiful because as we age, we don't get more and more excited about doing kids projects. We're evolving, we're growing, we have this vast experience of life that art can be a medium to take it to that next level as long as we put it in front of someone so that they can use it as a modality.
Yes, right.
That's great. I love that. And working in senior care for as long as I had, I always noticed when I would look online and see kids art versus adult art. And you could see the difference in their faces and the difference in their affect. And yeah, I applaud you, and I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing. What would you
Thank you.
What would you say is the next 5 years of Artfully Aging? What does the next 5 years look like in your mind right now?
Oh, that's a good question I ask myself because let's see. I guess my clock is ticking. And so I do think about what do I want this to look like, and how am I going to fit into its future growth, or I'm trying to get a vision about that.
Mm.
And I'm well on the other side of 65. So I'm an older adult myself, which is kind of interesting now. When I started, I was just a whippersnapper. Uh, but now I'm like, oh, I'm like one of all you all. And I would like to keep growing nationally, and I love it. It's just something so heart stirring about knowing, I have worked on these designs, all the projects I designed for the program, and I would make them and take them out on the road and do them locally, and then think, okay, that's too hard, or that needs to be a little different here, and I'd bring them back and I'd redo them. So I mean, I made them all, and to know that they're bringing joy to people across the country is just something really exhilarating. And so I want to keep that going. And it's really accessible art. It's very affordable. There's no reason why more and more people couldn't use they get the ready to paint projects. It's a time saver for many rec activity departments of all sorts. Um, so I would like to keep growing it. I have this, we could keep growing our boots on the ground, I call it, in St. Louis. Um, and doing more, I could find some more facilitators. I'm looking for them. And I don't know. I don't know if the facilitator, if it could become, I could have facilitators in other cities and onboard people in other cities. That's a possibility if I find the right people. Uh, so, and what my place would be and all of that going forward, I don't know yet. But I will tell you this: I consider it. I consider it. I consider the possibilities. I'm considering all the possibilities.
You never know what conversation or what relationship that you're building is going to lead you to those possibilities, because
Right.
you clearly harnessed every opportunity and I can tell you've appreciated every step along the way, which not everybody does. That says a lot about you as a person.
Well, I will say, even in the last 4 years, it's been a big challenge. Nobody 4 years ago outside of St. Louis, had ever knew anything about Artfully Aging. And so I had to spend a lot of, and I'm really the one doing most of the marketing, even though I have some support
Mm-hmm.
in implementing it, but I am pretty much doing it. And reaching it, growing a brand, reaching the audience, getting the messaging, all of that has just felt like, the definition of insanity. And so for a long time, I thought, am I just insane? Because I keep doing the same things over and over, expecting something different to happen. And, for the longest time, it has felt like it's only been 4 years, but it has felt like nothing's happening. I just keep doing the same thing over and over. Suddenly, but I did do some pivoting. I changed some of the messaging. I became more all-inclusive. I try to message to each of those areas, periodically, rotating, whatever, just keep driving it. And suddenly, that in sales and marketing, doing the same thing over and over is sanity. It's not insanity, it's sanity. Because
That's awesome.
fire.
Yes. Yes. You're such an inspiration. What is there anything that you could share or that you wanted to share that I didn't ask about today?
I don't think so. Just that, really my art program is a passion project.
Mm.
And it is really for everyone. It's the learning. A lot of people, when they first hear about it, oh, it sounds really great, but I'll call you when I'm ready. And I'm like, oh, no. It's weird that I would do that. No, you don't have to call me. Just go online and place your order. It's that easy. Things there's like this learning curve or something they have to do, and it's like you can do it. So maybe that's the message. It's easier than you think. Everyone thinks it's some complicated thing they have to learn how to do, and they have to watch the videos. Yeah, one time, maybe, so it's very easy. Yeah.
That's fantastic. It seems like you've built everything with the end user in mind on every step.
Right. Designed to be fun for residents and staff alike.
That's fantastic. And I love that you're bringing the staff into it because you're creating an experience for them as well. And they usually don't get those exciting experiences and learning the process of things and being able to be proud of some artwork that they've put together or helped an older person achieve.
Right.
I can see all kinds of possibilities there.
Right. That's a really good point because I have come to realize also that, like the residents who are intimidated, often activity directors, program directors, whoever, the setting is, often they're intimidated also. They don't think of themselves as artists. And, at Artfully Aging, we know everybody's an artist.
I love that. Everybody's an artist. That's so cool. How can our listeners connect with you?
Okay, well, you can find us at artfullyaging.com. That's our website. You can contact me and or us from there. You can sign up to be on our email list. We do weekly email blasts about projects and or programs or things that Artfully Aging is doing. We have a blog that we have many articles on about creativity and aging. You can email me at contact@artfullyaging.com, and you can find us on LinkedIn under Mary Beth, really under my name, Mary Beth Flynn. Artfully Aging is there. So I have a profile for both my profile and Artfully Aging's profile.
Fantastic.
So find me and ask me and friend me, okay?
I highly recommend you do because even if all as you see is the art that comes through every few days, because you're not in the market, you don't work in senior care, it's going to lift your spirits and just make you smile. Every time I see a picture of older people smiling with what they've created, it just makes me, it makes me smile and makes me feel like I want to keep going for the day. So it touches so many more people, Mary Beth, than even who you would think. So thank you so much for all of that. Art touches us all in so many different ways. I am going to put your information in the show notes so that people can connect with you if they want to. I'll put your LinkedIn profile and highly recommend that you connect with her on LinkedIn because, again, you're just going to smile every day. And then if you're part of senior living or part of the greater aging community and want to learn how to connect with her and bring this exciting program, this beautiful program to your community, you'll be able to do that as well. And Mary Beth, do you have any final thoughts or closing remarks that you would like to provide to our audience?
Just follow your dreams. And I want to thank you so much, Dana, for having me.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have you. This has been one of my favorite conversations. Just being real and listening to your story, and you're just an uplifting presence. So thank you so much for that. I have just had a ball talking to you today or listening to your story and just thinking about how I can apply these things in my business and how others could do it as well. And I am obviously a huge proponent of older people and their health and helping others, helping them maintain their purpose. And it is such a beautiful intersection. And if you found value in today's conversation or any of the interviews that I've done on Next Level Leadership, I would appreciate it if you would take a moment and click the follow link. Of all the people that watch our videos, only a portion of them, a small portion of them, I'm working on the numbers there, are actually following us. So I would love it if you would be able to go down and do that. That helps us to continue to bring great conversations like Mary Beth to us. And it also provides great opportunities for us to share these interviews with others so more people are touched by the conversation. So you can do anything. And until next time, thank you so much for joining us on Next Level Leadership. And Mary Beth, again, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.